Nothing starts off a vacation or business trip quite like getting bumped from a flight. Nice. Bumping is also known as denied boarding. In other words, you're off the flight and too bad for you. The business of bumping is not illegal, and airlines rely on this practice to compensate for no-shows. But when it happens, and if you're asked to give up your seat, what rights do you have? When a flight has more passengers who are ready to fly than seats available, airlines must first ask passengers to give up their seats voluntarily in exchange for compensation before bumping anyone involuntarily. Such compensation may include money or vouchers in exchange for voluntarily giving up a seat. There is no limit to the amount of money or vouchers that the airline may offer, and passengers, of course, are free to negotiate with the airline. If an airline offers a reduced rate ticket, free ticket, or vouchers to passengers in exchange for volunteering to fly on a different flight, the airline must tell passengers about any and all restrictions that may apply. If you decide to give your seat back to the airline in exchange for compensation and a later flight, the Department of Transportation recommends that you get answers to the following important questions. When is the next flight on which the airline can confirm your seat? Will the airline provide other amenities such as free meals, a hotel room, transfers between the hotel and the airport, and a phone card? How long is the ticket or voucher good for? Is the ticket or voucher unusable during holiday periods when you might want to use it? And can it be used for international flights? If an airline doesn't have enough volunteers who give up their seat, then they can start selecting passengers to involuntarily give up their seat, otherwise known as involuntary denied boarding, or bumping, or ruining your vacation. While it is legal for airlines to involuntarily bump passengers from an oversold flight, the Department of Transportation says it is the airline's responsibility to determine its own fare boarding priorities. Great. Thanks for the help, Mr. Government. An airline may bump a passenger based on the passenger's check-in time, the fare paid by the passenger, or the passenger's frequent flyer status. However, the criteria cannot subject a passenger to any unjust or unreasonable prejudice or disadvantage. For example, an airline could not lawfully use a passenger's race or ethnicity as a criterion. Yes, the Department of Transportation requires airlines to give all passengers who are bumped involuntarily a written statement describing their rights and explaining how the carrier decides who gets bumped. Generally, no. If you have already checked in and a gate agent has accepted your boarding pass and permitted boarding, they cannot deny you permission to board or remove you from the flight if you have already boarded the flight. Now, of course, there are exceptions, and airlines may deny boarding or remove a passenger from a flight if the denial or removal is due to a safety, security, or health risk, or due to a behavior that is considered obscene, disruptive, or otherwise unlawful. Bump passengers are not eligible for compensation in the following situations. A smaller plane is substituted for a larger one due to operational or safety reasons. Weight or balance restrictions that apply to planes with 60 or fewer seats for operational or safety reasons. A passenger is downgraded from a higher class of seating to a lower class of seating. In this case, the passenger is entitled to a refund for the difference in price. A flight contracted for a specific trip that is not part of an airline's regular schedule. Scheduled flights on planes holding fewer than 30 passengers. International flights to the United States. However, some airlines on these routes may provide compensation voluntarily. Also, the European Commission has a rule on bumping passengers, so ask the airline for details. The following situations may qualify you for compensation if an airline requires you to give up your seat on an oversold flight and you have a confirmed reservation. You checked into your flight on time. You arrived at the departure gate on time. And the airline cannot get you to your destination within 1 hour of your flight's original arrival time. Passengers who are denied boarding involuntarily due to oversales are entitled to compensation that is based on the price of their ticket, the length of time they are delayed, and whether the flight is a domestic or an international flight leaving from the United States. Most bump passengers who experience short delays on flights will receive compensation equal to double the one-way price of the flight that they were bumped from, but airlines may limit this amount up to $775. Passengers experiencing longer delays on flights will receive payments of 4 times the one-way value of the ticket that they were bumped from, but airlines may limit this amount to up to $1,550. Following a bump, airlines must offer passengers compensation at the airport on the same day. If the airline provides substitute transportation that leaves the airport before the airline can pay the passenger, the airline must pay the passenger within 24 hours of the bump. If you're bumped, be sure you know your rights and do what you can to negotiate as much compensation as possible. While legal, bumping is an ugly part of the airline business, and if compensation is required, be certain that you get what you deserve. For more travel-related videos, please subscribe.